Welcome to this week's regularly scheduled episode of the Mountaineer Podcast. I'm Ryan Sargent. I'm joined by Mansfield softball coaches G and Stack. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, so to start off here, whoever wants to go first, what brought you guys to Mansfield? I know, G, you've been here quite a while, and Stack too, but what brought you guys here? What attracted you to Mansfield?
Well, out of college, it just gave me an opportunity to get a job. You know, you really just have to take what you're offered.
Right.
I didn't know if I would really accept it when the phone call came.
Yeah.
It was actually a pretty funny phone call, but they offered me the chance to be an assistant coach at that time of both field hockey and softball, and those were my loves and always will be my loves, so I said yes.
Right, absolutely.
For me, I was just coming out of a graduate assistantship at Bucknell, looking for my first full-time job. This job opened up and I applied and got the offer, and same thing, I was just looking for an opportunity to coach full-time.
Right.
And then just being here as long as I have, I just fell in love with the school and the area, and it's still keeping me close to where I grew up, so I just enjoy it.
Awesome. So going into this season, you guys are coming in with pretty lofty expectations like last year, a lot of seniors, a pretty experienced team. What has to go right for you guys this year to be able to get over that hump kind of and get back into the playoffs?
Well, you always have to have the weather go your way so that you can kind of stay on schedule and not get backed up. But the other thing is we have to learn to be competitive and really want to step up in the moments, not just when the game's a blowout.
Absolutely.
And we've been working on that, and the team's doing a great job with it this offseason.
Awesome.
Yep, and I would just add to that, just staying healthy and keeping the pitching staff working at their best ability and working as a staff.
Right. Okay. So about the team this year, if you guys could pick, it can be the same player or a different player to watch out for this year that maybe we didn't really know last season, or a new player coming in to watch out for, who would that be?
You really never know who's going to step up and have a breakout year. We have 3 new rookies, and all of them have the potential to step up. But any of our returning players, I mean, you could see anyone have a breakout year.
Right, absolutely.
Player of the year, pitcher of the year.
So now more of a question for G. You've been here you're going into your 26th season. You a couple of years ago joined the 400 win club. How do you keep yourself motivated going into your 26th season? And what does that mean to you to be a member of the 400 win club?
Well, staying motivated is just a matter of I still love this game, and it changes every day. And just when you think that you've got it all under control, then something blows up.
Right.
And because it's about player relationships, and especially coaching women, those change, and those change daily. And the game changes with the equipment changes, and so just to stay on top of everything and keep it all together is quite a challenge. And I, was the interim AD for a little while and learned real quickly that I love the field and I want to be with the players and Stack and coaching whenever possible, and as for long as I can do it, that's what I want to do. The 400 win club means nothing to me personally, but it does mean something to the program. It's a program accomplishment. It's everybody together. It is team first. No one does that alone. Stack was part of 10 years of that. Assistant coaches before, all the players that came before, that's them. That's the program's wins. So for me, all that means is that we had great people.
Awesome. So in your guys' time here, the game has obviously evolved and changed in your time. So what's the biggest change that you guys have noticed that could either go your way or not go your way in how the game is played from the time you got here to now? I know it's kind of a tough question, but...
Well, the equipment is always changing the game and adapting the game. When Stack and I played, slappers weren't a big thing or even weren't around.
Yeah.
Now the slappers have become a big thing, so that changes the pitching, so that changes the equipment. So I think those are the biggest. The equipment really makes you change to what you're doing, and players, and what players you have. Great, I'd love to be a home run hitting team, but if you don't have all power hitters, then you have to adapt. And right now we have 3, great slappers.
Absolutely.
So that for me, and then pitching wise,
Well, I just think in general, players coming up through have a lot more softball experience than they did 10, 15 years ago because the travel ball world has expanded so much.
Absolutely.
So I just think we have more access to a wider range of great athletes just because of the amount of travel ball being played. Recruiting becomes easier. We just have access to, a wide range of fantastic athletes.
Right.
And the other change in that too is that women used to really shy away from weight training.
Absolutely.
And now they even do that starting in high school.
Oh, yeah,
so
definitely.
they're bigger and stronger and faster than we were 10 years ago, for sure.
Now, Stack, a question for you. I talked about how G's been here for 26 years, a member of the 400 Win Club. You being here for about 10 years, have you ever thought about possibly going and aspiring to be a head coach?
Sure, I've thought about it many times. Just, the love of Mansfield, it's hard to walk away from this
Absolutely.
place. And, every year I'm here, I'm just that much more invested in our program and in our athletes and in the recruiting process that the right opportunity just hasn't come up yet.
Absolutely. So you guys heading into this season, like I said, have a senior-laden team. You've had girls that have stuck around and put in the work, put in the time to get to, Rachel Sterner, Sierra Storm, players who have stuck around, put in the work. How has it been for you guys to see from when they came in as freshmen to now, how they've evolved as players and as people?
I think that's the best part of our job is watching the growth throughout the 4 years, not only softball-wise, but just as human beings. It's just been a lot of fun watching this group grow up while
definitely.
I've been here.
So, G, I talked about your career as a softball coach, but you also coached field hockey. If you could pick one sport that was more fun to coach for you or that you maybe enjoyed more, or maybe they're the same for softball or field hockey, which one would it be?
I really love softball, and I came as the assistant and did both sports, and then was the head coach in field hockey for a little while here. And when the choice came, I went to softball. The field hockey game has changed too, so this has changed now. But as a coach, there are a lot more things I can affect in-game in softball. I can talk, I can get timeouts. And now field hockey has timeouts. But then we had 5 subs. It was very strategic. And you couldn't, call a timeout and talk. Somebody had to fake an injury if you needed to talk to the defense.
Yeah.
So it's not like basketball where you can chart a play and then go do it. So what I enjoyed about softball is not just the strategy, but being able to interact all game with the players and, changing things as we go.
So what's the best story you guys have from your time at Mansfield? I know you guys thought of a pretty good one before.
My favorite story is one of the years at homecoming, I was hosting quite a large group of recent alumni at my home.
Yeah.
And I think it was the Friday evening of homecoming weekend. We had been socializing for a while and started talking about what they could do to prank the current team because they had been teammates with many of the girls that were still on the current team.
Right.
And I brought up a story that I always wanted to go back to my school at Bucknell and pull the tarp on the current team, so they had to pull it off the next day. And this group got it in their head that they thought that's what they needed to do. And before I could say anything about it, they were already gone and at the field and doing it.
This is like 2 a.m.
Jeez.
This is late in the evening. So the very next morning, I had to fess up to G that it was the group at my house that pulled the tarp on the field and had campus police questioning them and
campus police let them go.
Oh my
Campus
God.
police caught them, asked them, what are you doing? And they're like, oh, we're pulling the tarp on as a
And
prank.
they
And they're
said,
like,
"Coach
oh,
knows."
okay, have a good night, ladies.
Oh my goodness.
they told them, well, our coach knows we're here, so they were allowed to continue.
Yeah.
And then the current team showed up the next morning and were quite upset about having to pull a tarp off a field before we started the day.
In the episodes we've done, that's by far the best story we've done.
Yeah,
That's
well, our
awesome.
our current team tried to pull a sit-in. They like sat in right field. They're like, we're not pulling the tarp. They are, and we're like, oh no,
Oh,
get up
my
right now and
goodness.
pull that tarp.
Yeah. We told them, sorry, they got you. You're gonna have to just do it.
Yeah, from then on, like the homecoming pranks were getting pretty outrageous.
Jeez. So back to this year's team. You guys, like I said before, have a lot of strengths on this team from the outside looking in. If you guys could pick the biggest strength that is going to propel you guys to have a successful season from either a pitching and catching side or everything else, what would it be?
I would say the biggest strength that will get them to the playoffs will be working as a team and understanding that everybody has a role. It's not always the role you want. It's not always a starting role, but we've got 23 people and 2 coaches and managers and sports info and everybody that's going to make this happen for us this
Right.
year, and everybody has to accept their role.
Right.
If everybody will accept whatever role they have and be the best at that role, we'll be just fine and we'll make playoffs.
Total team effort.
Yep.
So what is the biggest challenge when we talk about your strengths, or what would be the biggest challenge facing this year's team?
Well, the biggest challenge early is usually that you're not on a field. So, you got to get through
Yeah.
that first weekend. And once we're through that and those jitters are over, then, just settling into your roles. And as
Absolutely.
we spoke about earlier, really winning those games. We lost a lot of games by 1 run last year.
Yeah.
I think it's around 10 games. You
Lot
can
of
go
tight
back
games.
and look at the stats. But winning those moments, winning, those at-bats that we need in key moments, and being able to step up and count on each other, whether it's defensively or offensively, just everybody willing to, in that moment, put it all on the line.
Okay.
And win those moments this year.
Now, this question, whether in game, in a practice, out of or just any time in the off season, what's the best memory that Mansfield softball has given both of you?
Well, my all-time favorite memory was when we went to regionals several years ago, and we were playing IUP,
Mm-hmm.
and we were in the 7th, and I think we were up 2 or 3. I'm not sure. The bases ended up being loaded, so they
Right.
were threatening to either tie or possibly come back and beat us. And a ground ball was hit to Ashley Inman, who was pitching at the time, and she
Mhm.
turned around and threw it to Kate Pratt at shortstop to turn 2. And just the look on Pratt's face when she came across second base, she just had the biggest smile because she knew in that moment she was going to make that play and that was going to end the game.
Absolutely.
That was a great memory.
Yeah. Okay. So now the fun questions for you guys. Now that we got through some of the tough stuff, giving you some time to think about it. I think I remember who wanted which one. Did you want the movie one?
Yeah, I'll do the
okay.
movie one.
All right. So if you're stuck on a desert island, 3 movies for the rest of your life, and you're stuck with them, what would they be?
Hands down, number 1 would be A League of Their Own.
Okay.
2 would be For the Love of the Game.
Okay.
And 3rd, we would just do an easy comedy like Happy Gilmore.
Awesome. Good picks. And G, if you were stuck with one food for the rest of your life, you got to eat it every meal for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Pizza.
Pizza? Easy. Easy. All right, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of the Mountaineer Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for access to this episode. Also, don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook for behind-the-scenes looks at what we do here. So, Gene Stack, thanks for coming on,
Thanks, Ryan.
and we'll see you guys next week.